Hello, I'm Rico. Welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging, where in every episode, my guests and we strive to offer you proven tips and strategies that you can implement immediately to greatly improve your overall health and well-being. So we're here to inspire you and empower you so you can live a much healthier, energetic, long life and go out and make a bigger positive difference in the world. So today we have two great episodes for you. The first one is entitled The Knee and Shoulder Handbook. It's how to protect and preserve your joints and perform well at any age. And we have an expert guest. His name is Dr. Alan Reznik. He's one of the prominent orthopedists and authors. So it's really some great information. And then the second segment is all about, there's a new a program for school children that they're trying to get into as many schools as possible. It's called the Social Emotional Learning Program. So this is a program for school children to teach them more social skills and relationship skills and how to love themselves better, and then also how to prepare them for the workplace. A lot of CEOs and corporations say now that a lot of students or people coming out of college, they may be prepared technically and scientifically, but they're not prepared, to do well in a workplace, or they don't have the social skills. So this is really an important program. And so I'm playing it for a friend of mine who started this program. And so I think it'll be really interesting, especially if you have children, or if you want to get involved in any way this is a program that's going to be really beneficial. We still have a lot of mental illness and a lot of suicides among young people. So this is a great program that can really solve all those problems. And then I'm going to play for you my new song and video. It's called Wake Up. This is the message that we as humanity all need to listen to and to take action on. All right, so before we play our first segment, we've got a quick message from one of our sponsors.
Stop forcing down those massive pills that end up in your toilet, not in your bloodstream. Hello, I'm Rico. For the very first time in my 43 years as a personal trainer and wellness coach, I am endorsing and recommending a unique line of nutritional supplements. Superior Source produces an exclusive line of microlingual tablets that dissolve instantly under your tongue. I have a hard time swallowing large tablets and capsules, but these tiny tablets are the easiest to take I have ever found. These products are clinically tested for purity, potency, and have the highest rate of absorption. Microlingual tablets are ideal for those with digestive challenges and for infants and children, as there are no pills to swallow. They offer a full line of key nutritional supplements, including many for children. So why give these supplements a try? They're easy to take, highly absorbable, and inexpensive. Join thousands who have ditched their pills. One tablet under your tongue will make you a believer.
All right. Yeah, I highly recommend you give these a chance because, the main thing is that they have a much higher absorbable rate than normal vitamins that have to go through your digestive system. These are what's called sublingual. They're dissolved under your tongue and get right into your bloodstream. So you'll get some lot better results from your nutritional supplements. All right, here's our first segment, the Knee and Shoulder Handbook. Hello, I'm Rico. Welcome to this episode of Fearless Aging. And we have a great topic today. The title is Preserve, Protect, Perform. It's about innovative knee and shoulder care. And our expert guest is Dr. Alan Reznik. He's an author, inventor, lecturer, and consultant. He's a board-certified orthopedic surgeon specializing in adult and pediatric sports medicine and arthroscopic surgery. Dr. Reznik is driven by the exploration of new ideas that advance health sciences, venture into artificial intelligence, and at the heart of it all, to help people and organizations achieve their goals. He's a prolific author of his two most recent books are I've fallen and I can't get up. And the one we're going to talk about mostly today is the Knee and Shoulder Handbook. So this is going to be very important. I think there's not too many of us that aren't dealing with some sort of a knee or shoulder issue. So this is going to be really informative. So Dr. Reznik, thanks so much for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. Always look forward to talking to you. Last time we got together, we had a nice conversation. I think we helped a lot of people. So I was looking forward to getting a chance to speak with you again. You have some great stuff on your website and everything else.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, that's the whole idea. That's why we're here, to see how we can help people age fearlessly. And of course, with your topic, if you can help people with their knees and shoulders, that's going to help them to not fear aging and age fearlessly. All right. So how about we start with, I assume the most common orthopedic conditions are knee and shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, I see everything, but the knee and shoulder really centers around a lot of athletes, right? There isn't an athlete that, in most sports, you have to be able to move your body and move it well, and that requires knee motion. But then hand-eye coordination is the next. And I like to tell people there are two things: is that the knee gives you the flexibility for running and turning and twisting and positioning yourself for sport. Also is very important for transmitting forces from the ground to your arm, especially a throwing sport. But at the end of the day, the arm rests on the shoulder, and the shoulder is the most mobile joint in your body. And the shoulder allows you to place your hand almost anywhere in space. So if the shoulder's not working well, you can't get your hand where you need to get it with any force or strength or control. All kinds of things go wrong. So that's sort of the connection.
And I just think, you don't have to be an athlete or playing sports. I think most people over 50 or 60 are having problems with their shoulders or their knees and their joints. So do you have any statistics about, in the population of, say, over 50, how many people are dealing with joint issues?
Oh, over 50, if you're very active, there's always something. I joke with my patients that when you're very young, you wake up and nothing hurts you. Then you get to some age where you wake up and every day one thing hurts you. And then you start to get to your 50s and 60s, you start to take inventory of the things that bother you in the morning. And then when you get really older and you're aged well, you wake up and you say, oh, my old friends are all back. And that's how you know you're in good shape. All my friends are still here, so I know I'm all right. So, yeah, I think anyone who's competitive, there's always something that, gets twinged. If you're really pushing the limits of your sport, of course, there are things that, get a little sore time from time. And most of the things you can shake off. It's the nagging things that are recurrent, running downhill and kneecap pain, right? So, you run downhill, the forces across your knee are 7 to 9 times your body weight when you're running downhill. So some people say to me, look, I can run all day on level. Uphill is not so bad, but as soon as I come down that hill, it's terrible. Ligament problems in the knee, you're unstable, you twist, you pivot, you turn, you hit a pothole in the road, and your knee gives out. Those are things that are critical. So those are the common problems in the knee. And then torn cartilage, that's also, tear the bushings, basically the little bushings inside your knee, you twist, you turn, you tear those, and your knee can lock and swell. And I tell my patients, listen, a little ache and pain here, a sprain, okay, you shake it off, it gets better. But if it's recurrent, it's the same kind of thing. It swells, the same maneuver causes recurrence of the pain, then you got to think there's a mechanical problem in the knee, and you have to look at that. And some in the shoulder, you can have some aches and pains, you overthrew it, whatever. But if certain positions are reproducibly causing pain, then sometimes you got to look at that. If I've dislocated my shoulder and it went back in and I feel okay, but now I can't cock past a certain point, can't get my hand up behind my head without it becoming painful, I may have subtle instability or a labral tear or something like that, and that may be a tip-off to a problem. Or if I've developed significant weakness in a certain plane. So rotator cuff tear, typically, if you reach for something in the refrigerator and it's far away from you, like a gallon of milk, and your arm wants to drop down, more often than not, you either have irritation of the rotator cuff or a tear. So those are the things. And then I know you picked up on my blog about scapular or shoulder blade motion. And sometimes watching someone raise their arms overhead, if you just go like that and watch from behind them and let them bring their arms down, you'll see that one shoulder blade moves smoothly and the other one maybe hitches or wings out or wings in. And when you see that, that's a tip off that there's something wrong inside the shoulder or the muscles that support the shoulder. So those are the things I look for. And patients at home or athletes at home can look for it as well.
Well, before we get into it, I just want to ask you, how you can protect your joints and prevention and all those things and ways to preserve your joints. But I do want to, since you mentioned that, I want to ask you the question of, because I know you mentioned here too also, is that what questions to ask if you have to go in, if you go in to see an orthopedic surgeon?
Usually the first thing is, what's wrong with me, doc? Right? That's the first thing. And then, but really, let's peel that back for a half a second. So much of diagnosis is a good history. So, I always say to people, what are the 3 things you really need? And they say, oh, you need an MRI. I say, no, you don't need an MRI. What you need is you need to tell me what's really wrong. When does it hurt? What happens when it hurts? And what makes it feel better? And how long it's been going on, how frequently it happens, those kinds of things. Are there positions that set it off, things like that. So a really, really good history, I'm already thinking of the 6 things that can cause what you're saying, right? The second piece of it is a very, very good exam, right? So if I have the history now and I kind of now I'm coning in a little bit, I'm thinking about, oh, maybe this is really a ligament problem, a kneecap problem. Maybe it's really a foot problem. The patient doesn't realize, or it's a hip problem causing knee issues. Any of those things, I'm going to focus in on the exam. I'm going to do a general exam and then focus in on the things that are most painful. And I'm going to actually try to touch it and see what hurts. And then I might do some maneuvers with the limb to see what brings the pain back, right? So certain, like, do you have a draw test and your ACL is not working? Do you have a posterior sag? Do you have a meniscal sign? Is your knee swollen, for example? Or do you have rotator impingement signs or pain with rotation that tells me it's your biceps that bothers you? All these little tests. You do all that, and then I'll get an x-ray. And plain x-ray will rule out a tumor, right? First, a bone tumor. You don't have a fracture. You don't have a dislocation. You don't have calcium deposits. You don't have loose chips in your shoulder. Or are the bones malaligned? Like, is the shoulder sitting in the wrong place? It's not really lined up right. So all those 3 things together, probably 98% of all diagnoses are made, right? An MRI goes for something like, maybe there's something inside the bone or inside the knee that I already kind of know after your history, your physical, and your exam. I'm saying this is probably a meniscal tear that's symptomatic and it warrants maybe surgical intervention. Now I might be in the planning phase, and I'll say, okay, I need an MRI for that planning phase to kind of pin down exactly what's going on inside the knee. But I already know I have a very good idea what it is, right? So I think that people have a misconception. So, the first thing they say, well, just get an MRI. I don't know what's wrong. An MRI can overread things. It can underread things. An MRI also is not, it's not a perfect image, right? It's magnetic waves that go through you, and then the computer back calculates what it thinks is there. But there's artifacts, and there are things that fool MRIs. And so sometimes you see something that's not real. So I always do, let's the pillar of 3 things first, a good exam, good history, and plain x-ray. And then some kind of plan of what to do about it. And if there's still a mystery, maybe an MRI, or maybe you do the initial plan because it's going to cover 98% of the stuff. And you fail the initial treatment, maybe we'll get an MRI. Maybe there's something else going on that we don't know. So I think that's what you got to be thinking. If you're going into the doctor, I want you to think, am I getting a good exam? Is he really listening to my history? Did he do an x-ray to see I didn't break anything? And let's go from there, let's formulate a plan from there. So that's an orthopedic injury. That's the most common.
That's some great information. I just want to add too, your new book, the Knee and Shoulder Handbook, it contains all this information that we're talking about. Yeah. So I highly recommend, and we'll give his website where you can go and get a copy of his book. And he has a lot of great information, a great blog with a lot of really good information. So I highly recommend you go there. So we'll let you know about that at the end of the show here. Okay, so the next thing then I want to ask you about, then what is your protocol for prevention and preservation and protecting your joints?
Okay, so again, there's a lot of things you can do that are really good for you, right? So the first thing is good nutrition, right? We always talk about that. If your diet is not good and you're not having enough protein, you don't have enough vitamin C, you don't get enough calcium in your diet, you're setting yourself up for things that are not going to be good longer term. You can't maintain your tendons and bone and muscle without good protein, a decent amount of vitamin C, vitamin D, calcium. All those things are important. So, good nutrition is always first. The second thing is listen to your body. So I always say to people, like, you're training and you're doing something brand new and you feel fantastic the first day. So you do triple what you thought you could do. And the next day you're miserable. In fact, the next week you might be miserable. And then you decide to, even though I'm miserable, I'm going to run through that. But the body takes time to catch up. And one thing people don't understand about bone is alive. And that's why one of the reasons I came to orthopedics, because it is a fascinating thing to know that the bone is constantly reading the stresses that it sees, and it creates tiny little electric currents. It's called piezoelectric. Bone is a special material in that force creates electric currents inside your bone. Those electric currents tell your body where the bone is being stressed, and it adds new bone to those areas. When you stop stressing the bone, the calcium is taken away. So your bone is actually a perfect model of all the forces you see every day. So if you're someone who's always been a runner and now become a biker, or always been a swimmer and now become a runner, the forces that you see in the new sport are going to be very different than what you've calibrated for your whole life. And so there's going to be an adjustment time, and it's much longer than just a day or two. When your bone remodels to accommodate the forces, it takes weeks and weeks and sometimes months. And the muscles do the same. So your muscles are extremely efficient. And one of the things that muscles do is they set the length based on the most efficient pattern for the activity you're doing most of the time. So when you switch from biking to running, or you switch from tennis to, swimming maybe, your muscle length that's ideal for each sport is slightly different. So there is a muscle period where the muscle accommodates the new sport, and there'll be stiffness and soreness with that. So you have to let the bone catch up to you and the muscle catch up to you when you begin something new. And sometimes that takes longer than we like. Some people put a rule of thumb, like if you're doing a new activity, you shouldn't increase more than 10 to 20% per week over the previous comfortable level for most people. So that's sometimes a rule of thumb. So if I can run comfortably 3 miles, maybe I can add a third to a half a mile or a little more every week. 3 would be a low level for a lot of runners, but some people, they really start at a very low level, and that's a nice way to build up.
Yeah. So the message is, if you change your activity or start something new, take it easy, ease into it. Don't just jump in full blast. That's so important. Yeah, absolutely.
And then stretching and flexibility. That's the last part of that, right? So you need to stretch and be flexible,
and also to build your muscles, also to strengthen your muscles so they can protect the joints as well, right?
Sure. And then and the other thing I talk about in one of the little podcasts from a long time ago, actually probably did it about 15 years ago. I did this thing called Rites of Spring, and what it is like people. Right now it's changing seasons. Anytime the season changes, people change their sport, and when they change their sport, they need to check their equipment at the beginning of each season, make sure it's in good shape, because if your ski bindings are not right, you're going to hurt yourself. If you have you've outgrown your shoes, or the shoes are in bad shape, or the cleats are broken, whatever it might be. Particularly in kids as they grow, some parents put the kid in the same cleat as last year, and the feet are twice as big, and they're miserable. They get blisters. And so what happened? I need new cleats, Mom, So, anyway, so I tell them, check the equipment, and then check the conditions, right? Because as you first go out at the beginning of ski season, there's not snow on trails. Some of the trails are a little more dangerous. And at the end of the season too, where they get icy and smelting and whatever, it's a little more dangerous. And the same with fields. The fields aren't in prime condition at the very beginning of season. They might be still a little muddy. They might be potholes. There may be rocks from the winter, so check the field as well. So I would say, take a couple minutes, look at the equipment, look at the field conditions, and adjust your activity so that you're playing in a safer environment.
Yeah, that's so good. So one of the last things I just want to ask you, what do you think about running? I kind of advise my clients, especially when you get older, to try not to run too much on asphalt or concrete. Try and run on a track or on a beach or on the ground. Running on asphalt concrete is pretty. It's pretty pounding on your joints, isn't it?
Yeah, and also in the winter, asphalt and concrete actually get harder. People think, oh, it's a pretty hard surface, but the asphalt and concrete actually are harder in the winter when it's colder. So it's also more impact. The other thing people don't appreciate is the shoe itself is a plastic or rubber. In the cold weather, within 10 minutes, it gets very cold. So whatever cushion you have in your shoe is no longer cushioning you. So surfaces are great. And someone says, well, I have these great sneakers, Hoka's, whatever, they're great sneakers and I can run on anything. But if you actually felt the plastic, if you're running in very cold temperatures, you'd see that it becomes very hard very quickly. But the impact load, it's, downhill, as we said before, is more problematic than uphill and level ground. So, as you get older, more level surfaces, softer surfaces, those are going to be better for you and your joint, preserve your joints longer. And the other thing is the stride type. So I have some patients, you can hear them in the gym, they're bam, 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 bam on the treadmill. You hear them across the room. They're so loud. They have a heavy heel strike, very tight hamstrings. They're pounding away. And I always say, it's like, well, if I took a hammer and hit it hard enough to make that noise, imagine that's what you're doing inside your knee, right? So, I tell people you should be running at a speed on the treadmill where it is whoosh, 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 whoosh. It's not bam, bam, bam. The people who hear a lot of bamming in the gym, it's often they have the treadmill set faster than they can actually go. Yeah. And so they're falling forward very quickly and catching their weight with all the force possible. And it's not actually the best thing for them.
Isn't it true that I think the majority of people, they're either overtraining or undertraining? Not many people find the right moderation. So many people are just beating themselves up, overtraining, and some people are not doing anything, isn't it?
Yeah, the Goldilocks syndrome, right? No one's doing it just right. Where's it? I want the porridge that's just right.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Reznik, thank you so much. That's some great information. And you're going to get all this information and much more in his new book, the Knee and Shoulder Handbook. So I highly recommend. And it's just drreznik.com, and we'll put that link in the show description. So I highly encourage you to go there and check out all he has to offer there on his website and get a copy of his book. So, Dr. Reznik, thanks so much for being here, and thanks for the work you're doing. It's definitely, the work you're doing is definitely helping people to age fearlessly.
Oh, thank you so much, and I appreciate your website and everything you've done. It's really great for people to have some guides on how to get there gracefully and in good condition.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, and thanks everybody for being here.
Thanks again.
Okay, we are back. So I hope you take advantage of that to go to Dr. Reznik's website and get a copy of his Knee and Shoulder Handbook. And it's not just for athletes or even for people who exercise a lot. It's for everybody. You want to be able to learn what you need to do to preserve your joints so they'll last, so you don't have to get a knee replacement or a shoulder or hip replacement like so many people are these days. There's plenty of ways that you can preserve them and protect them and make them last a lifetime as well. So be sure and go there. All right, so I've got another short message from one of our sponsors, and then we'll get into the social emotional learning program for school children.
In your 60s, 70s, and 80s, you were healthier, stronger, with more vitality than in your 40s. It's not genetics, it's not luck, it's the ageless living lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Rico, creator of the Ageless Living Lifestyle. I've had the good fortune to work with hundreds of individuals just like you who greatly improve their overall health and well-being. And my clients aren't just staying healthy, they're out hiking mountains, playing sports, and feeling better in their 70s and 80s than they did in their 40s. My clients and I are living agelessly, and I know you can as well. So let's have a friendly conversation about your personal aging challenges and your goals. There's no pressure, just an honest conversation about where you are now and where you want to be, and whether the ageless living lifestyle is a good fit for you. So I'm here for you. Let's talk.
That's right. I'm here for you. Let's talk. Book a free call. We'll just have a friendly conversation and see if I can help you out a little bit. All right. So here's the video interview that I did with my friend Jay Levin, who's offering a great program for our children.
Hi, so I'm Jay Levin, and thank you, Rico, for the opportunity to share about our work. I'm the founder of an organization called Equip Our Kids. It's equipourkids.org. And what we are is that we're a pro bono kind of marketing, advertising, branding agency and strategic agency for an education movement called social emotional learning, best known as social emotional learning. Sometimes it's called character development. Sometimes it's called whole child development. And what it is the best of human development techniques, processes that teach children how to manage their inner lives, their relationship lives, their careers, the ways they express in the world, the way they relate to the world in very healthy, positive, strong ways that create connection, that free them from reactive behaviors and allow them to develop very mutually supportive relationships with their peers and then with other people. And over the years, the success rate of schools that adopt social emotional learning, by whatever name they call it, has proven pretty profoundly that with these programs, with this training, kids' grades soar and all the major problems of schools that have violence, bullying, screen addiction, kids be feeling alienated, not wanting to come to school, high dropout rates, lower graduation rates, all those bad numbers go away. And the long-term studies show these kids go on to have very successful, healthy lives with much fewer incidents of poverty, much fewer incidents of crime, and a lot of good support for the economy rather than being negative weights on the economy because they're drug addicted, breaking up relationships, creating havoc here and there. So the educators behind this are some of the best people I've ever met in the world. They're really intelligent, they're really heart-based, and they're really caring. And so my background is as a journalist. I've started the largest urban weekly in the country, the LA Weekly, made it a great success. I've run 5 other media companies, and I'm also a social entrepreneur, working in areas of primarily poverty, community development, economic community development. And then once I discovered the social emotional learning movement and saw the really positive results, both economically, socially, and kids' behaviors, you'll see an example of this in the video we'll show today about the major how kids turn out who have been through these programs in their schools. So we recently began working towards developing support for this education movement from the business community. The business community has great things to gain from supporting this because the kids come out really ready for the workforce and really clever. And the events that they collaborate in and the way they work and create is the behavior patterns, the thought patterns, is everything the business community is looking forward to. So I'm going to be walking you through a deck that shows that. My own interest is based on the fact that part of my journalism career, personally as a reporter, then as an editor, covered the human development movement because I saw it as the way to retrain people from the historic ways we're trained to not get along with each other, to create wars, to create genocide, to have high rates of abuse of each other, high rates of child abuse, high crime rates. And I saw social emotional learning after visiting many schools as a way to retrain our humanity in ways to get along with each other in great ways and deal with our emotional reactions to each other rather than in negative ways. I've got to beat you up or etc. my country has to go to war with your country. So that's been a driver for me to raise the level of ways humanity learns to relate to the challenges we create for ourselves and not create so much of that challenges. In the business community, you have a special need and special interest that aligns with the overall healthy needs of this country to move forward. So I'm going to take you through a visit to our argument and case for that, and I hope you'll pay attention. I want to share the deck that explains what our approach to businesses is and the mutual benefit to businesses and the schools and the kids. So what you're seeing here is the deck we prepared. And the theme is very, very clear and very simple. Businesses need the kind of people, and they're crying for it. They're asking for it through the Business Forum, World Economic Forum, et cetera. But the kind of soft skills that they're not seeing in kids coming out of school and the levels and numbers they need and feel. And they've got plenty of problems with their own team. So this deck takes us through the case about that and why this is a natural match made in heaven for schools to get behind, thinking about the nature of the workforce skill set other than the hard skills. As one of our board members says, the soft skills are now the hard skills. And the businesses need to step up the way they did with STEM to make sure social emotional learning is available to every kid in America and coming out of these schools, because it's black and white between when you have it and when you don't. So your better workforce won't be delivered on a platter. That's true. The government has been federal government has been cutting back money on social emotional learning, and the states are struggling with the financial conditions now. The local districts are struggling, and social emotional learning needs a powerful champion at this point, the way STEM did years ago. So, and the case this deck makes is that the absolute reasons for this. For what we're talking about here is, of course, bringing kids in from school, raising kids who are emotionally intelligent, they're resilient, they're innovative, they're great collaborators and communicators, they're adaptable, they're focused, they're purpose-driven, they know how to get along with each other in extraordinary ways. They're good critical thinkers. But here's really some data, not all of the negative data, but just some of the negative data on what's really happening in the workforce now. So 60% of Gen Z kids are getting laid off early for lack of these soft skills often. High turnover rates, 51% of American employees are looking for other jobs. People are not happy with their workforces and opportunities. Employee mental health issues is a $32 billion annual cost. Why mental health issues? Because people don't know how to manage their own emotions, reactions, etc. Why did Biden surge social emotional learning money into schools? Because the Surgeon General told them, entire psychiatric profession said, the kids coming out of these schools, mentally damaged in serious ways, they're not relating well, coming out of COVID back to schools. And what's going to happen now is we're going to have real problems in schools that started to happen. And we don't have enough child psychologists, child advocates to deal with that. So we needed to train the kids themselves in how to manage their inner lives and regain healthy relationship lives with others. Lego Foundation over there says social emotional learning is good for the child, good for the workforce, and good for society. And they sure got it right. Emotional intelligence, just emotional intelligence in surveys over many years, 20% more profitability if you hire for emotional intelligence, 34% more productivity, 59% less turnover, $11 return for a dollar invested, 90% more effective leaders, and 28% lower staff conflict. This is a chart of the emotional, the negative emotions that kids go through or you go through and what happens after the training. So if they're acting out, they start to manage their feelings and behaviors. If they're in peer fear because of bullies in the school, they learn to be friends and mutually support each other. It's a real training. All human suffering, pain, etc., with each other can be retrained. We know from years of experience of retraining people when in serious ways. disengaged from schools, highly engaged, poor communicators, become remarkable communicators, etc. So what businesses know is without a staff, a team, and employees that fully capable of these skills, you get conflict, you get blame, you get bullying, you get manipulation, usual stuff we're familiar with. You also get with the younger kids a lot of avoidance, low problem solving, low adaptability. With SEL, you get collaboration, not conflict, higher EQ, and higher engagement. There's these videos anybody we can watch. I think I've sent it to you to show. And you just watch the video of these kids here and you get it. You'll see, you get it immediately. Okay, I get it. So what are businesses looking for? Well, World Economic Forum's 2025 report, they're looking for all these soft skills. Analytical thinking remains high. Resilience, flexibility, agility, leadership, and social create influence, which means to them social skills. Creative thinking, curiosity, and lifelong learning are high up. So, and then there's social benefits. Social benefits actually turn out to be really huge. You get safer communities, you get lower crime rates, you get less poverty, less homelessness because people are taking care of themselves. Obviously, you get better because people are working out better and creating better. Lower healthcare costs from improved physical and mental health, for sure. Safer investments from a culture of more honesty and empathy. And lower social costs means potentially lower taxes. The school results, when schools bring them in, you see usually grades go up about 20% fairly quickly. Attendance climbs, drop out. The sense of going to school becomes fun and a pleasure and a safe place for kids to really learn to be with each other, and they get a lot of creativity out of that. And so, the bad stuff goes down dramatically. Violence, bullying has of course been a historic problem in schools, remains in a lot of schools. Screen addiction, huge problem now, abates significantly. Race, class, gender biases decrease. Drug and alcohol use decrease, as does dropout rates. One of the things is that parents, when you tell them about these skills, that they want them in schools, there's large numbers of parents of any political section. If you just tell them that you want these skills, these are the numbers you get, 93% to 81%, depending on the skill you mention. I'd like to point out that the best-selling movie in 2024 by far was Inside Out 2, 1.8 billion box office. Parents and kids rushed to that movie all across the U.S. and in fact the globe. Why? Because emotional intelligence is really important to parents now. What they understand is that there's a deeper understanding of how we act out and where it comes from, and the need, the need to learn to self-regulate your emotions and act in a different kind of way. These are some of the social costs we pay: 50 billion annually employee theft, 5 trillion in crime, 1 in 9 girls gets raped, sexually abused, or at least. Mental health, nearly 20% of U.S. adults experience mental health illness. Drug usage, 1 in 10 Americans. Criminal violence, huge rates of violent crime in this country. Domestic violence, 10 million children, 20 million domestic U.S. partners annually. So what we encourage is that businesses join up and find a way to help, the way they did with SEL. So this slide is based on a number of the things, key things that the corporations did together in getting STEM into more schools. And we want to see businesses step up and do the same now. One was they became strong lobbyists for public funding. We of course support that. They got their business associations and other firms. They all got together to co-promote. They started sponsoring individually. Companies started sponsoring. They actually developed a pool of money as well to partner with STEM in schools. We want them to do the same now. You can support more and more SEL advocacy groups. They're all underfunded and they're all full of really, really exceptional people. They're people worth knowing. They're amazing people, very, very smart people in these advocacy groups. Very caring, and they're the kind of people you almost automatically respect. We can actually even, for your parent employees, We can help provide SEL training for your parenting employees so they know how to bring this into their homes. And you can also become, as the STEM backers did, you can also promote SEL to the relevant groups, parent and other groups. You want your kid to have engineering, be great for the career. If you want your kid now to have all the life skills that make them have a better life. Equip Our Kids, by the way, is a nonprofit. We're pro bono. We raise our money from donations, but all the work we do in the community and for the community is pro bono. So we make media for the grassroots organizations. We create media independently. We think we've had a pretty significant effect over the years in raising parent awareness from 5% to 75%. We most recently, aside from that, we help create grassroots organizations and build up the grassroots organizations. We started the California Social Emotional Learning Alliance, which advocates on the grassroots level. It now has 5,000 educators and a great executive director we found. We were started by business people on both. My career is in journalism. I was a reporter and then editor-in-chief and then CEO. I've run 6 media companies. And all 4 of us who started this were CEOs of companies and CEO owners of companies. Each of us was interested in youth development, especially for kids, so we could help youth development where they can learn to be in the workplace. And it became natural to us to step up and say, let's get kids ready for the workplace on a mass level. So let's support the social emotional learning movement. The latest thing we're doing is that comes out of is we're focusing on getting businesses to get behind this as they should have, in our view, years ago, for their own benefit, for everybody's benefit, certainly for the kids. And one of the most recent thing we're doing is we're training the leaders, the educator leaders of the movement in about 35 organizations in how to deal with the business community. We brought some of our business allies, very smart, intelligent people who are on boards or run companies. And we started a series of trainings with them so they know how to talk to businesses and get meetings and go to their local merchants, right up to the big corporations, and go to the chambers of commerce and the business associations. These are our founders, myself, Richard Foos, Rhino Records, Rosin Blake of Blake and Associates, Edgar Hobo, the founder of Tender Greens Restaurants. I have been the founder and chair of the LA Weekly. Some of our key 10 members, our president, Custody Henry, and she's got both a business background and a human development background, as I do. And she worked for Buffett for a while. She turned around the Chicago Teachers Pension Fund, et cetera. Larry Namer, well-known name in the entertainment business, started the E! Channel, created hundreds of TV programs. Highly respected. Barbara Annis has worked for about 200 major companies and knows many of the CEOs and training them and retraining the staff to be able to get along with each other. Especially the male-female, the gender intelligence groups. And Maurice Elias is one of the most knowledgeable people in the country about social emotional learning. And he's director of the Rutgers University Character Development Lab, which trains educators. And then the support in the business community. Google's smart about it. This guy Brannigan, who we all know, is smart about it. There's some other people who support it. Ken Chenoff from formerly American Express, Mark Benoff still there at Salesforce, Ariana, Jeff Bezos. Bezos has his own social emotional learning training support group run by a guy named Rich Hugh. Jack Ma, Alibaba, Indra Nooy, former PepsiCo, Jack Welch, we all know him, and Tom Wilson's been very active the last few years in Allstate, being a strong supporter of social emotional learning. Just some other people from Dallas and from Vanguard, from KPMG, from Microsoft, et cetera. So that's the story. I mean, we want to, human beings need to be retrained, both for the workforce and to be able to get along with each other generally, so we don't have so many wars and so much crime and violence and mental health problems and addiction, et cetera. Social emotional learning really does that when it's really applied. And the idea that business would not get behind this and for its own benefit and for the economy's benefit is crazy. The economic impact of kids going out there being really involved in the economy rather than dependent on it, but really helping engineer it is, one would think, to be as simple as 1 and 1 are 2. So that's my presentation, and I really thank you for the opportunity. So I hope you found that presentation revealing. The ways to follow up are several. One is you can contact me directly if you contact at equipourkids.org, equipourkids.org. I'd like to hear from you. You can get active in your local communities. You'll find guidance on our website, equipourkids.org. You can also start working with your local business associations to bring attention to this business positive education movement and start thinking of them as natural allies. Talk to your legislatures about this. You'll find, as showed in the deck, that the more you look into this, the sweeter it looks. If you're a business person, if you're a parent, you absolutely want to take a deeper look into this, making sure your schools provide this kind of learning. Check out the results based from it, not what you hear from people who don't show you the results. Forget the name social emotional learning and just think about the life skills that are available to your children and yourself, actually, because this is really just a life skills training in how to get along with each other better and how to do your life better. So with that, again, you can reach us, contact at equipourkids.org, and you can reach the website very quickly at equipourkids.org, where you find lots of good evidence and stories and videos demonstrating the benefits of providing this education to every kid in America, and also bringing it into your homes, which you'll also find on our website. A great many videos that bring that training into your home, short videos that you and your kids can watch together. So with that, thanks again, Rico, and I appreciate the opportunity.
All right, we're back. So I definitely encourage you, if you have any interest in getting involved in how you can support the SEL program in any way. Again, we'll put that link in the show description so you can contact them. All right, now I want to play for you a new song that I wrote and created, and I think you're going to really like it. It turned out to be a great song, but the message is what I really want to get out. So if you like it, please share it as many people as you possibly can. This is the message that we all as humanity needs to listen to and say, let's take action on this. Yes, this is what we need to do. So here is my song.
from above. Let's care for Mother Earth. Let's appreciate her worth. Dogmatic religions must go. Spiritualism is the universal flow. It's time for a new day, a new way. That's what the masters say. What a world it could be. Raising our consciousness is the key. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Show up, stand up, speak up. It's time to start living in love. That's the message from above. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up. Show up, stand up, speak up. Speak up. It's time to start living in love. That's the message from above. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Show up, stand up, speak up. Speak up. It's time to start living in love. That's the message from above. It's time to start living in love. That's the message from above. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Show up, stand up, speak up. It's time to start living in love. That's the message from above. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Show up, stand up, speak up. It's time to start living in love. That's the message from above.
All right. I hope you like my song. I hope you like the message. I hope you agree with it, and I hope you'll take action on it. So if you do, please send. Well, let's see. I'll put the link. I'll put the link to the song in the show description, so you can go there and listen to it anytime, and you can send more people there. So the more people that get that message and are willing to take action on it, the sooner we will create peace on this planet. And that'll be a lot better for everyone. No question about that. All right, so I also hope that you liked today's show. You got some good information. You'll take action on that as well. And I'd love to hear from you if you have any ideas for topics that you'd like to see on our show. Just again, I'll put my basic email in the show description. You can send me an email. Let me know what you think about Fearless Agent and what you think you would be some good topics that you'd like to hear. So I'd love to hear from you. So thanks very much for being here. Tell your friends about the Fearless Agent TV show and go out and make it a better world for us all.